Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Appreciate you tuning in. So today we're going to talk about how we are booking 5+ meetings a week on easy mode. My name is Pablo Malandu. I'm the founder and CEO of Vintascale, a B2B lead generation agency. We're going to go over, this is going to be an in-depth comprehensive guide and case study. We'll walk you through the proven system for generating consistent meetings through cold email. In this video, I'm going to cover everything from volume strategy to deliverability, infrastructure, targeting, offer design, follow-up mastery. And if you follow the things we talk about in this video, you will consistently book 5 meetings a month, over 5 meetings a month, per week, excuse me. You will be able to consistently book 5 meetings per week with qualified prospects. So not BS leads or terrible quality leads, but qualified prospects. So first things first, why 90% of cold emailers fail before they even start? So most people send between 50 and 100 emails a day. And they think that's a lot. A lot of times they're doing it manually, but it's really not, especially in the world of cold email. They wonder why they only get 1 meeting a week or 1 or 2 meetings a month. Here's the brutal reality of things is you're not playing big enough. You're not sending enough emails, right? A reality check. So cold email is a numbers game. It's a numbers game. Most people underestimate just how much of this game is about volume, including myself when I first started. If you're sending, and I never feel like I'm sending enough emails. I'm always looking for ways to send more emails. If you're sending 100 emails a day and wondering why you're only getting 1 meeting a week, that's your answer. Even if everything else is really dialed in, that's your answer. A good cold email system isn't just about your copywriting or your tools. It's about the ability to consistently send high volume emails while maintaining quality and deliverability. So volume is a multiplier of quality, right? Volume is a multiplier of quality. When you have bad quality emails or a bad quality offer, but you send a lot of emails, it's a disaster. Your domains are going to get burned. Your inboxes are going to get burned. Your deliverability is going to go down. You're going to lose trust in the marketplace, and you're just going to waste your money. If you want to succeed, first get your whole system dialed in. Get your lead list dialed in, your segmentation process dialed in, your offer dialed in, and we're going to go through all of those in depth in this video. And once all that is dialed in, and it's showing in the reply rates that you're getting, and I'm talking about 1.5% at the least consistently, but ideally 2% and over reply rates, that's consistent. Just send more emails. When you have that checked off, just send more emails. So let's dive into what a volume strategy could look like, because you don't want to start off by sending a million emails a day off the bat. How I like to start, and this is just what has worked for us and what continues to work for us, is I like to start with mini campaigns to validate what we're doing or what I'm doing on behalf of my clients. I like to start off with mini campaigns that send between 500 to 1,000 emails a day. 500 to 1,000 emails a day, mini campaigns. And I might make those campaigns with, 250 leads in this campaign and then 300 leads in this campaign. I might execute on both those campaigns on the same day. So I'm sending between 500 to 1,000 emails a day, but each campaign is a mini campaign, and they're very, very targeted and very segmented. And from there we can scale, right? I put 10% reply rate. That should look more like 1.5. So if you're not hitting 1.5% reply rates to 2% reply rates at a minimum consistently, meaning across all your little mini campaigns, or the same mini campaign but done twice over, right? So you do it once just to make sure it's not a fluke. You do that mini campaign again. If you're not hitting that consistent 1.5% to 2% reply rate minimum, fix whatever is happening in there first, and we'll talk about what might be happening in this video. So once you have that and it's consistent, then we got to scale intelligently here. So when you're first starting out, I said between 500 to 1,000 emails a day. When you're starting to scale this thing, you're looking at north of 1,000 emails a day. And if you really want to push things, double that. Now, infrastructure matters, which we'll talk about in a second. But in my journey, after, like, I spent months obsessing over the whole, like, copywriting and the offer and stuff like that. And then I realized I wasn't failing because of my offer or my copywriting. I was failing because, or my deliverability, my infrastructure. I was failing because I wasn't sending enough emails. Once I scaled to north of 1,000 emails a day, I consistently hit 3 meetings a week. And as I got better with everything else in the system, it increased to 5+ meetings a week. And it's going to continue to grow. One problem I was running into, which we'll talk about in a second, is so here's a quick checklist that might help you out. So before you hit the gas, before you start scaling your emails, make sure that you have your domain set up properly, right? That you have multiple domains warmed up, and we'll talk about the process for that in a moment. That you have backup domains ready, that the configurations are all done correctly. And most inbox providers will do this for you on your behalf, which is what you want. Like, you want to know how to do this, but you don't want to be having to do this yourself, especially if you run an agency with clients. Like, this stuff can take up a lot of time. You don't want to be bogged down by setting up the infrastructure yourself. Just work with an inbox reseller who will set this up for you. Your list quality has to be down pat. We'll go deep into that as well. Your deliverability foundation has to be down pat. So how you're warming up, your sending reputation, the spam score, all these things. Your offer has to be validated as well. Right. And again, we're gonna each of those sections we will get into, but the key takeaways for just right now for volume: if you want 5+ meetings a week, you need to be sending 1,000 emails a day. You just have to, unless your lists are so targeted, your offer is so good. But then I have some questions as to how scalable those campaigns are. If your lead lists are that targeted, I have some questions as to how scalable those campaigns are. Most failures are volume failures, not quality failures. The copywriting can only get so good. The deliverability tactics can only get so good. The offer can only get so good. Scale amplifies everything, good or bad. So now what I would do, if I'm getting anything less than 5 meetings a week, what I would do is I would take a look at my current volume. I'd make sure that the infrastructure is all correct, which if I'm using a reseller, you can assume that it's done correctly. It usually is. Like, this is all common knowledge nowadays. It's not that difficult to get right. Once that's taken care of, and I've tested this with mini campaigns, then I would start to gradually increase. But I would start with mini campaigns first. And I'd be launching a campaign or 2 campaigns every single day until I get this right. The fix to most cold email problems is just send more emails. I literally have that written down, but only after you've built the foundation to handle the volume. So now let's get into deliverability. This is the foundation that makes volume possible. So if your emails don't land in the inbox, you don't get meetings. Simple as that. You can have the best list in the world, the most compelling offer, perfect copy that converts, but if you land in spam, none of this matters. The truth about things is, this is not set it and forget it. And I thought that, I can have my infrastructure configured correctly and all the settings are done right and I've warmed up for 2 weeks and then I'm good forever. It's not like that. Your deliverability never stays. Like, it's never you do it right once and then it's good forever. It's an ongoing process. It's ongoing tweaks. Day by day, week by week, and day by day, it's ongoing tweaks. Unfortunately, but that's what it takes to succeed in cold email. So I used to think like that. I warmed up for 2 weeks and I'm like, okay, it's good. And then I'd start launching on a Monday, and then by the Friday, my deliverability has tanked. The reality is it fluctuates daily, weekly, and hourly. Your sending reputation changes constantly. Your ISPs, your internet service providers, your ESPs, Email service providers update their algorithms all the time. Your competition affects your inbox placement. There's a lot of competition in cold email. There's people sending really terrible cold emails that ruins it for all of us, because Google, Outlook, Microsoft Azure, they will update their spam filters accordingly. Your job is to keep the floor of your reply rates rising. So I have a graph that I won't show right now because it's built off of internal information, but we track our reply rates. So first campaign might hit 1.5%. Second campaign we launched maybe later that week or that same day, when it was all said and done, it hit 0.7 reply rate. So there is a clear drop there. Now let's do another test. Did it go up or down, right? If it goes down, we have a different set of information. If it goes up, then perhaps it was just the lead list that was wrong, right? In the bad campaign, or just things like that. But track everything. Track everything. And I should add that here. Track everything. Track your leads, reply rates, date of campaign launches, number of emails sent per day, like all those things, replies per domain, because some domains will get burnt, and the only way you know is if you're not getting any replies to that domain consistently, not just today, but over the course of, let's say, the next few days or the next few campaigns. Anything lower than 1%, your domain health is deteriorating, or some other deliverability problem. That's your early warning system. And I should also say, the best fix for deliverability is just sending good emails that people want. Sending good emails with relevant offers that people want. That's the easiest way to fix your deliverability problems. And I would challenge you to continue to refine that. And what happens is your reply rates will go up, and you realize it was never my inbox provider. It was never anything like that. It was never the email service provider. It wasn't Google. It wasn't Outlook. It wasn't the spam words. It was just I was sending emails to people who didn't want them. I was sending emails to people who weren't even remotely interested in this offer, even if they did have budget. And you realize that it really just comes down to people marking you in spam. Deliverability tanks when, one, people mark you as spam, and two, low initial reply rates. And this is assuming everything else is set up correctly and your lead lists are clean. So now, the core infrastructure setup. This stuff is important. The fundamentals are important, and we can never skip the fundamentals. Here are the non-negotiables. So use a trusted inbox provider. Don't go cheap. Don't cheap out on your tools. This matters a lot. Diversify. So no more than 50% of your inbox is on one platform. Why is this important? Because let's say you have 100% of your inboxes on Google, right? And your campaigns just suck this week or this month. You don't know if it's your copy, your offer, or if it's Google's fault. And what was happening with me is I was just blaming Google, or I was blaming Microsoft. But really, it was something about what I was doing with my leads, something about what I was doing with my offer, segmentation, so on and so forth. So choose the right provider. I don't have any to recommend right now. I don't do the free promotion thing right now. I'm still testing. I don't want to recommend anything that I haven't had prolonged success with. Now, the technical foundation. So make sure your DNS, your SPF, your DKIM, your DMARC, MX is all set up. This is easy to do. It's a one Google search away. There are step-by-step instructions for every single domain provider out there. However, I personally don't like to get caught up in this. I like to let my inbox reseller set this up for me. So choose an inbox reseller who sets this up for you, because as easy as this is to do, a lot of people mess this up, and this will, if nothing's going right for you, you probably got this wrong. And I mean, if nothing else is going right for you, you probably got this wrong. You shouldn't ever have to worry about this. This should just be assumed. Like, this is so much of common knowledge that this just should be correct all the time. Let your provider handle this. Don't do it yourself, especially not early on. And test everything. Test all these before you start sending. I believe there's a website, it's mxtoolbox.com, something like that, or mxlookup.com, one of those. It'll give you an immediate report to see if all of these are correct, and it's very accurate. Warm-up strategy. So keep 20 to 30% of your inboxes warming up at all times. Match the warm-up volume to the cold email volume, so a 1-to-1 minimum. So if you're sending 10 cold emails per day from an inbox, that inbox should be sending 10 warm-up emails a day. And I like to keep the warm-up reply rate at 60% or more to offset the cold email campaign dips. So if you're not getting a lot of responses to your cold emails, the fact that you're getting replies to your warm-up emails will offset that. Don't skip this stuff. This is very, very important. And when I first started, I thought I could skip this stuff. This stuff all matters. It all really matters, and it all adds up. 10 points here, 10 points there, 10 points there, in order to get to 100% deliverability. 4 pillars. Here's what actually moves the needle. So volume management, right? Copy quality. So like I said, sending good emails. And I would put an asterisk over here, because this is just, at the end of the day, it comes down to this. Your list hygiene, and then your inbox management. Right? And I'll put the link to this Gamma doc below in the description, so you can go through this. But when it comes to volume management, I know we said volume matters, but a lot of people send too many emails too quickly. And then by the end of the week, their inboxes are burnt. You need a gradual ramp up over at least a couple of weeks. Your copy quality, send good, relevant emails. Check the spam words. I'm sure that's been covered in many other videos, including my own, but a good place to check spam words is mailmeteor.com. Spam words, you shouldn't obsess over them, but it does help. It does help to clean this up. Like I said, everything counts. Everything adds a little point, a bonus point here and there. Your list hygiene, your bounce rate should be under 1%. If it's anything over 1%, over 1.5%, re-clean your list immediately. Like stop that campaign. Pause it. Export your leads. Clean them again in Clay or whatever it is that you use. Like, something's not right there. Use multiple email verifiers unless you have one that you really trust. I like Mail Tester Ninja. And I have heard good things about Lead Magic. I've heard good things about Million Verifier, but I like mailtester.ninja. And then inbox management. So rotating your inboxes, this is something that we're starting to do on our end as well. Pausing campaigns when you need to, when things are getting too hot, when your reply rates are dipping, when you're getting a lot of bounces, like just you'll start to know intuitively when to pause these campaigns. But don't drive a campaign into the dirt. Like if you've been running a campaign for 3 days and there are still 0 responses, 0 replies, and you're sending maybe 100 emails a day, and you haven't gotten a single reply, not even out of office or anything like that, or not interested, nothing, yeah, pause it, and adjust your sending limits based on the performance. Right. So maybe you're starting to see some out of office replies and not interested replies and stuff like that. that's good. Then you can start to ramp it up because you know you're actually getting in their inbox. But if you're not seeing anything, reduce, like not even out of office replies, reduce the sending volume. Reduce the sending volume. This is fluid stuff that we need to continue to manage day by day. So watch for warning signs. This is just deliverability continued. Watch out for those reply rate drops. Watch out for the bounce rate spikes. Watch out for delivery delays, right? In terms of smart campaign strategy, avoid running a bunch of different campaigns at once unless you're more advanced and you know what you're doing, because it's difficult to manage. It just is. Right? It just is. One campaign might burn your inboxes, but then you have another one and you another campaign going at the same time, and you think that second campaign just isn't doing well when really your first campaign burnt all your inboxes. So we want to be able to pinpoint and isolate these issues. The reason why we're going through all this in depth is because all of this matters for getting your emails into the primary inbox. If your emails are not in the primary inbox, you're not getting replies. You're not getting any interest, and therefore you're not booking meetings. All of this are things that we think about every single day, and all this adds up to us getting 5+ meetings a week. So avoid running all these campaigns at once unless you are more advanced, because eventually you're going to have to run multiple campaigns at once as you have multiple clients. Right? If your reply rates and campaigns start off really strong at the beginning of the week and then drop off by the Thursday or Friday, something's not right. Something's not right. So something is wrong. And I laugh because that it was a big thing that I was dealing with. In my case, I was burning my domains. I was sending too many emails, and the copy was just bad, and my list segmenting was bad. My list segment, like I wasn't sending emails to the specific right people. Don't underestimate how targeted you have to be. And so if you want to recover your deliverability, I have a whole other video on this, a case study. But pause the underperforming campaigns immediately. Analyze what changed, right? Just really go deep and try and analyze things and pick it apart, get a second opinion, and then test with these small batches first, mini campaigns. What you shouldn't do, what I learned from burning domains. So I used to just bounce from one inbox resellers to another, and then I realized that deliverability issue followed me. I thought the tool was the problem. I kept looking for this magic solution. The real problem was I wasn't managing my campaigns properly. I had really lazy copy that screamed mass email, like pray and spray. And I was oversending without monitoring. I was ignoring the warning signs. I was doing the opposite of everything that we just spoke about. And I realized if campaigns start strong and then crash midweek, I'm the problem. It wasn't the tool. It wasn't the email service provider, the inbox reseller. It was me and my copy. So what I would do is, I would do the 2 weeks of warm up, let the inbox provider reseller set everything up. I'd do the 2 weeks of warm up. Once the 2 weeks of warm up is done, if you're on an SMTP, I would do 3 weeks. But if you're with Google or Outlook, I would do 2 weeks of warm up, and then mini campaigns in week 3 to 4, just mini campaigns. See if I can get those consistent 1.5% reply rates or more. The lowest I will settle for is 1%, but it has to be consistent. Like I can't ever have a campaign hit under 1%, or else I wouldn't scale it. And then once I'm hitting over 1.5%, ideally 2% reply rates, I would then scale. So I included some success metrics, some green light indicators. Your reply rates are over 1% consistently. Your bounce rates are less than 1.5% consistently. Your reply rates, you've set them to over 60%. So that's where you want to be. Yellow light, If you're hovering in that 0.5% to 1% range, you got to watch out. You got to dial things back, slow it down, really start thinking about what's going wrong here. If your reply rates are less than 0.5% or your bounce rates are over 2%, then something's not right. Just stop that campaign and let's get back to the drawing board. And that's okay. You're going to have to continue doing that. The people who succeed the most in this space, they test the most. Key takeaways: volume without proper deliverability, you're wasting your time, effort, and money. Deliverability changes daily. It changes daily. One of the biggest factors in deliverability that I didn't talk about is domain age, and with that, domain health. So let the pros handle setting up your technical infrastructure. 1-to-1 warm up to cold email ratios or more, right? Sometimes I personally do 2-to-1. Monitor your reply rate as your health indicator. Your main health indicator, your main deliverability indicator is your reply rate. And then clean your lists often and aggressively. So double clean them if you have to. It's not about finding the perfect tool. Getting deliverability right is not about finding the perfect tool. It's about managing your campaigns and copy and offer like a professional. So now let's get into targeting and lead list quality. So here, that should be here. So the foundation that makes everything else work is your targeting and your lead list quality. When you get the targeting right, the emails will write themselves. You can have perfect deliverability, you can have massive sending volume, you have great copy and offers, but if you're talking to the wrong people, you're just sending spam at scale. One of the most important things that you need to do, and that I did, that's allowed us to start getting results, is shifting mindset from pray and spray to laser focus, like really spending a lot more time, double or triple the amount of time thinking about who we should be targeting. Most people think, I target all CEOs, I do all C-suite. The more industries we target, the more opportunities we get. They cast a wide net and just see what sticks. Successful cold emailers, from what I've noticed, they think in the following way, and this is what helped us start getting results. I'll target CEOs who think about a specific problem daily, or we'll target fewer but better qualified industries. Every filter in Apollo affects my message. The example that I like to use is the CEO of Goldman Sachs gets a very different email, and should get a very different email from you than the CEO of a 5-person startup. And then even there it goes deeper, which we'll talk about in a second. Every filter in your targeting in Apollo or in Crunchbase or LinkedIn Sales Navigator or whatever it is should change your approach and your email and perhaps even your offer. So here's why every filter matters. This is how I have started to think about things that has allowed us to see more success. So the company size. A 5-person startup doing $1 million a year is a lot different and cares about a lot different things than a 5-person startup doing $500,000 a year versus a 5-person, let's say, e-commerce company doing $50 million a year. All different people, all different problems, all different messages that you should be sending. There's things like the geographic impact, right? So a Silicon Valley CEO versus a Midwest CEO versus a Canadian CEO versus an Australian CEO. Different business cultures and priorities. The funding environment varies by region as well. Funding round, the revenue stage matters. So pre-vet revenue, bootstrap versus VC funded, growth stage versus a mature company, funding round, all that stuff we should really, really, really be thinking about before we export or scrape any contacts or any leads. Each combination of all these things requires a different approach, tone, and value proposition. So here's how you know you're doing targeting right. So you won't always know if you have if you have product market fit before sending the email, which is why you want to send emails to test and gather data. This is also why volume matters, because the more emails you send, the more data points you have about what works and what doesn't. But you know you've achieved product market fit when your reply rates go up consistently across campaigns. People who send the most emails get the best at cold email. It's just the way this game works. More volume equals more data points, like we just mentioned. Better data equals better targeting decisions, and better targeting decisions means higher reply rates. So you see how all that kind of lines up. So your goal should be to be, number one, spend as much time as needed thinking about who we're targeting, and then number two, send more emails as quickly as possible. One thing about offers or about finding product market fit is just follow other people who have succeeded. It's the easiest way to do cold email. Target industries that have already proven themselves receptive to cold email, right? You can literally just Google that. Look up popular niches that respond well and start there, or start in industries where you have work experience, but don't stop at industry. Think about the location. Is it US? Is it North America? Is it Europe? Headcount matters a lot. This is one of the primary filters that I think about. Revenue matters. I don't filter by revenue. I really don't filter by revenue. I used to. I like headcount, and I have them as a trade-off. The job title matters a lot. If it's a 10-person company, the CEO/founder is probably making the decisions. If it's a 50-person company, it's probably C-suite in general, or director level, or VP level. Your specific offer matters a lot as well. The combination, so all of these factors together determine your success rate. So now let's talk about lead list quality standards. Before you upload, make sure that all your leads are clean and verified. And this is just standard best practice stuff. This is nothing out of the ordinary, but you'd be surprised as to how many people complain about deliverability, complain about their campaigns not doing well, complain about their reply rates, and then they're cutting corners on all these things that add up and that matter. They're cutting corners. They're skipping the fundamentals. I know this because I used to do this myself. Your bounce rate should be ridiculously low. I'm talking about under 1%. My bounce rate is ridiculously low. Company names should all be cleaned and standardized. Email verification should be done properly. We gave you tools, right? Like Mailtester Ninja. One piece of advice that I got from the CEO of an inbox provider is take your cleaned lead list. Once you've cleaned it, let's just say in Clay, go halfway down. So if you have 1,000 leads, go to the 500 lead mark. Let's say it's in a spreadsheet or in Clay. Go to row 500. Then from there, pick 10 companies. Look each of them up manually on Google. If 2 or 3 of those out of the 10 don't fit your ICP, you got to rebuild that whole list. I would start from scratch. I would rescrape everything. Okay, maybe not start from scratch, but I would do the cleaning in Clay again. And if I've cleaned properly and my lead list is like half the size, I'd probably get more leads from Apollo, or I would just work with that because I know at least it's clean and at least it's on target. At least it's on target. So the first stage of having a really strong lead list is making sure that you're filtering properly in Apollo or wherever it may be, Crunchbase, ZoomInfo. Second, I don't use ZoomInfo, by the way. Second level of verification is, ChatGPT and Clay, making sure that you have an actual column in Clay to judge whether or not, or qualify whether or not this contact, this lead, is in my ICP. You're seeing how all this stuff matters. So first deliverability or volume deliverability, now lead list quality and segmentation, like all this all this adds up to, this is the exact path as to how we're getting 5+ meetings a week. This is exactly it, step by step. If one of these things was missing, we wouldn't be doing these kinds of numbers. And you want to consistently refine all this stuff every day. You want to be on this, monitoring it every single day. So why it's so important so one of the things that will make building leads exponentially easier, building lead lists, exponentially easier, is if you work with clients who already have existing case studies. Take on clients who have existing case studies if you can. Why? Because you can find lookalike companies. I was going to say look up companies. You can look up similar companies to those case studies. In Apollo, you can reverse engineer where those successful companies are tagged or how they're tagged in databases like Apollo. And that way it's so much easier to make your emails relevant and make them good. You know exactly what your target looks like, right? So identify your client or your best case study results, map those company characteristics in Apollo, find lookalike companies, and this is going to be its own video. Reference that case study in your email and then just rinse and repeat. Just keep going. That's how you scale up. Get more lookalike companies. So work with clients who have case studies and also where the total addressable market is big enough. And I'm talking in the tens of thousands, right? So at the end of the day, we want to send more emails, which is why I started this video off with the key, if everything else checks off well, is just to send more emails. You can't send more emails, and thus you can't be successful if this client you're working with only serves a really, 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 really small niche. My total addressable market requirements are at a minimum tens of thousands of potential companies, not people, companies, tens of thousands of companies that we can work with in this market. So they can't sell this like really, 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 really unique product to a really, 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 really unique customer, because then it's so difficult to find a lot of them who are interested, or to generate that demand. If we can't capture it, to generate it. Ideally, you want hundreds of thousands of potential prospects. You don't want to settle for a total addressable market with only a few thousand companies or only a few thousand people. Because we got to think about how we're going to scale this so that we can start getting 5 meetings a week. Let's say one of your mini campaigns works. Now it's like, okay, well, it works. How do we grow this? Where do we get more leads from? Right? We've got our lookalike companies and all that, but how do we continue to grow this? So when I'm scaling a campaign, what I think about, this is how you go from 1 meeting a week to 5. Because you want to send more emails. So who do you send more emails to? How do we go back in Apollo and get more leads that are on the money? Well, we can expand geographically. So we instead of just targeting the US, we can target Canada, so North America. We can target Europe as well, and Australia. We can expand job titles from CEOs to VPs and directors. We can expand our industry. So going from a sub niche in an industry to just the wider, larger version of that industry. So from let's just say fintech, so a tech company that makes tools for financial services, you can just go to tech or SaaS in general. You can expand by company size as well. That's one of the more obvious ones. So instead of just targeting boutique companies, you can go to the next level up. So instead of 3 to 10 employees, you can go from 3 to 20 employees and 3 to 30 employees, and just adjust it based on there. You'll start to see when the reply rates drop. If you run all those as their own individual campaigns. So campaign 1 is for 3 to 10 employees. Campaign 2 is from 10 to 20 employees, and which one does significantly worse. And then you know, okay, something about this offering or positioning wasn't right for the 10 to 20 employees. Like we got to adjust something here. Now, when it comes to where you get data from, Apollo is number 1 for me. Crunchbase is there. Although I don't use it too much. And then there's also LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which I don't use too much unless I'm sending cold email DMs. I really don't use LinkedIn Sales Navigator too much. Clay for data enrichment and verification. I've posted a video on a beginner Clay workflow. You should go check that out. I will post more Clay videos. And using ChatGPT to do a lot of this AI work within Clay, right? In terms of, and so you also want to be doing multi-layer verification. So in Apollo, right? In Apollo, they have filters where you don't include catch-all emails, where you only include Apollo verified emails. So that's layer 1. Then in Clay, you're doing layer 2, right? So with Mailtouch Ninja or Million Verify or Lead Magic, then you're doing layer 3 with ChatGPT. So ChatGPT within Clay, one of the prompts should be, hey, look at this contact, look at this lead, and output yes or no if it is within my ICP. And then layer 4 should be a manual spot check. So like I said, you should go down halfway down your lead list and just pick 10 random companies. And if they are, and why I say go halfway down is because you're probably going to get the more relevant leads at the top if you're exporting from Apollo. And if you're having a lot of companies, or even just 2 to 3 companies that aren't in your ICP, after you've done all this verification stuff, after ChatGPT has confirmed, if you're still not seeing the right ICP, you gotta work backwards. You gotta redo your prompts or something in that, but in between all that went left, right? So for every lead, confirm, at least mentally, are they in the right niche? Do they have the money to afford your service? And do they actually need or potentially need your service? So again, I have an offer right now, an intro offer that's I book 5 to 10 meetings a week guaranteed for your business, your B2B business. A business that gets like 50 meetings a week does not need 5 more. I'm just saying, or like Goldman Sachs doesn't need 5 meetings a week, but maybe a boutique firm does. So adjust your offer, adjust your segmenting based on what's being propositioned here. In terms of where to spend your time, this is one of the most important things to think about. 80% of your time when it comes to building a lead list should be targeting and list building and thinking about the segmentation. 20% of your time should be on everything else, so the cleaning and stuff like that. The better you're targeting, the better your reply rates will be. And targeting is a practice. It's a skill that you learn over time through repetition. The better your lead list, the better your deliverability. The better your segmentation, the more relevant your emails will be. More relevance equals higher conversion rates, which means more meetings. That's why all of that matters. It takes a lot of thought and thoroughness to get to 5 meetings a week. It takes a lot to get to 1 meeting a week and then 5. So a lot of the success is just thinking about things deeply enough. So in terms of key takeaways, when it comes to targeting, every filter in Apollo, every filter in Crunchbase and LinkedIn Sales Navigator, wherever it is that you're getting your data from, it should change your message. You should change your message approach. Product market fit shows up in reply rate and quality over quantity, but you need the quantity to succeed. You just need it. It's a numbers game. In terms of action steps, what I would do if I was a total beginner is I would map my ideal customer across all these different filters and dimensions. So what does it look like in terms of headcount? What do they look like in terms of geographic region? What do they look like in terms of annual revenue? What do they look like in terms of job title? Use that 50% rule, like go halfway down your lead list. Once you've cleaned them up in Clay, go down 50% and see if they are actually in your ICP. Start with proven industries that are already guaranteed to work, and then expand from there, and then use that multi-layer verification that we talked about. So in Apollo, make sure you're excluding catch-all emails and make sure you're only including verified emails. And then from there, cleaning it in Clay, and then from there, your own personal spot check going halfway down the list, so on and so forth, right? Now, let's talk about offer design. So this is the bridge between interest and them actually replying, right? And a meeting happening, right? Your offer is the single most important thing about your emails. You can always get your offer. You can always improve your offer. Your offer is the single most important thing about your emails that decides if you get replies and book meetings or not. You can have perfect targeting and segmentation, flawless deliverability infrastructure, massive sending volume, but if your offer is weak, none of this matters. So here's a hard truth. Your copy can be bad, but if your offer is good, you will get meetings. If you're getting not interested replies, but your emails are going through your offer is weak or it's saturated. I wish someone had told me this when I first started in that way. If you're getting out of office replies but no meetings, you haven't built enough trust in the marketplace. Why do you think I'm putting out content every day? And a lot of it, right? It's to build trust in the marketplace. These guys are looking you up and seeing nothing. You're a total stranger. You're a ghost on the internet. You have no credibility. If you don't have case studies, at least put out content so that people can see that you know what you're talking about. When it comes to offers, pick an offer that works already. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just pick an offer that works already. That's selling well. Look up other agencies. The biggest mistake is when it comes to offer creation is trying to create something unique from scratch and reinvent the wheel. Here's the winning approach is I pick offers that already work. I don't like to reinvent anything. I like to pick offers that already work in the marketplace. Why this works is because proven offers have proven demand. You skip the whole validating the offer phase. You can focus on execution and not experimentation and testing. And one thing that's really important when it comes to offers is risk reversal. So take as much risk as possible off of the client. This is how I like to think about it. And you have to care about your client in order to be able to do this sustainably over a long period of time. Take on as much risk as possible yourself and off of the client. And that's how you make no-brainer offers, but you have to care. So some winning models, these models will never not work. It's performance-based, so they only pay for results. Right? They only pay for results. These two are one and the same. These two are one and the same. So performance-based. There we are. Trial period. So giving them a free sample, right? So we work for the first 30 days for free, or you get the first 3 leads for free, and then guarantees. So I'll get you X amount of meetings a month, or I'll connect you with X amount of hiring managers a month. If not, you don't pay. Why this works? Because it removes the biggest objection. So their fear of wasting money. It's especially powerful when prospects don't know what they need. Allowing them to pay per performance, pay per meeting or whatever, or just operate on a performance model. It allows them to try and see if these leads are quality or whatever it is, right? They can try it out and see without risk, and they don't pay for anything that isn't quality or that isn't in their ideal customer profile. Your offer must answer one of these 3 questions clearly. Does it make them more money? Does it save them more time? Or does it save them more money? Does it make them more money? Does it save them more money? Or does it save them time? If it doesn't do one of those 3 things, then your offer isn't really an offer. I mean it is, but it's just like it's going to be exponentially more difficult to sell. If it doesn't clearly answer at least one of those, tie it back to one of those. Reframe the offer so that it ties back to one of those. So a big thing is coaching, and I know this because I ran a coaching business. A lot of it is feelings based. It's intangible. And you want to make sure that you tie it back to, okay, if we help you reduce your stress, for example, like what does that do for you time-wise? It makes you more productive. Saves you time. What does it do for you money-wise? Well, it helps you make more focused decisions and helps you increase your confidence or whatever it is. And that helps you close more deals or make more money. Like, tie it back to one of those, right? Stop making people think that, you know, the benefit has to be obvious. You don't want people to think about this offer and try and tie it back themselves. It has to be obvious if you want it to sell, if you want to get more meetings. You want your offer to be obvious. If they have to think about how this helps them, you've already lost. You've already lost, right? So some examples of bad offers. We're going to optimize your growth strategy. We're going to enhance your market positioning. We're going to make you feel better, more productive. We're going to leverage our expertise. Like, none of that means anything. Good offers is get 10 qualified sales meetings per month. We can see exactly what they're going to get. The prospect can see exactly what they're going to get. Reduce your customer acquisition cost by 40%. Save 20 hours a week on prospecting. Increase revenue by $50,000 in 90 days. Right? We make it about them, and we give them a tangible result. They know exactly what they're going to walk away with. Right? So positioning angles that work in terms of offers. This is how you should be positioning your offer in your email. Number one, speed. So I'll get you results in 30 days. Start seeing meetings within 2 weeks. It's the fastest path to a qualified pipeline. Number two, easy. So it's done for you. It's hands off. No learning curve required, on autopilot. Number three, like these are things you can add into your offer statement in your email to test it, to split test this in different variants. The ROI angle, so pay per qualified meeting only, right? Average client sees 3 times the return. When it comes to, and then number 4, the exclusivity angle. So limited to 5 clients per month, invite only program, whatever it might be. I don't really use the exclusivity angle that much. I personally use the ROI angle a lot, combined or layered with the ease angle. So now, how to validate your offer, how to know if your offer works. Look for similar offers that are already succeeding. That's the best, number one thing you can do. It's the best thing you can do. Look at your competitors, look at their positioning. If they're in the same stage of growth as you, look at their pricing. Identify what customers are already buying. Sell what works. Sell what works. Also make sure that the client is going to be able to make money out of this. Can they afford your service? Will they see clear ROI? Right? So let's look at lead generation math, for example, and why lead generation sells well and has always sold well. It's because the math is easy to see. It makes money for the client. So let's say they're paying $5,000 a month for 10 meetings. Right? So that would be $500 a meeting. It's not what I charge, by the way. I'm just throwing a number out there. And they close, so they get 10 meetings, they close 2 of them because they have a very standard closing rate of 20%, that's actually really good. If the average customer lifetime value is $10,000, then they made $20,000 and they paid you $5,000. So they just, they bought money from you. You've sold them money. This is why it's such a good service and a good deal, and why it sells well is because they gave me, as a lead generation agency, $5,000 and I gave them $20,000. So they just made 4 times the return on their investment. Yes, they don't close every lead or every client. Nobody does, not even on their own. And if they were doing it on their own, they'd have to go and get the leads themselves. So not only are they not closing all of them, but they have to spend time, energy, and resources sourcing all of them, and have to do it again and again and again and again and again, and making sure that they can do it at scale. That's all we focus on. We're really good at that. And then we make sure that we don't engage in anything unless we can turn a profit around for you. Right? So the offer here is in its most simplest form is give me $5,000, and then in the next 30 days, I guarantee you $20,000. You just have to wait 30 days, or the 2 to 3 week warm up. And if you don't, you get your money back, and that's in a legally binding contract. So common offer mistakes to avoid: really vague value propositions, right? Like, we help you grow. Believe it or not, I see this more often than I should. We increase your success. We optimize your business. Feature focused offers, like we use advanced AI, our 7-step process. I promise you, nobody cares. The prospect does not care about your 7-step process. They care about results. They don't care about features. Don't feature dump. This is feature dumping. Don't feature dump in your emails or on your website. Just show them what they get. One clear line that explains what they get is better than 10 lines of features or AI this, AI that. Offers that are high risk, that have high risk propositions, so a 6-month minimum commitment before they see results, right? Sometimes if you have no credibility, pay up front for results. It is high risk, right? No guarantees, it is high risk. So if you want these here, I don't even do, I don't do these. I mean, I always have a guarantee, right? If you're going to do those, you got to have a ton of credibility. Complex explanation. So making your offer, your parents, your mother and father should be able to understand what you do and what your offer is, right? So always test your offer, do some market research, right? Find 3 to 5 similar offers that are working. Again, analyze their position and pricing, identify common themes and approaches, right? From there, you're going to test with a small batch. I would say start with 500 to 1,000 emails. These are verified. Test it with a small batch, track your reply rates and meeting conversions, gather feedback on the offer itself. And then from there, refine based on the prospect feedback, test different positioning angles, right? Test your risk reversal. So guarantee versus 3 free meetings, test all those things. Your offer doesn't have to be set in stone from day one. You don't have to force it or shove it down people's throats. Just test it. And then scale. Once you find out what resonates, what's working in the market, what people like and what they respond to positively, just scale it from there. Right? So that's the whole offer testing framework. So all of these things put together, right? By the way, read $100 million offers, $100 million offers by Alex Hormozi if you haven't already. Again, study what offers are successful in your market, what your competitors are doing. I can't say that enough, but so getting the offer right and consistently testing it, even to this day, getting the positioning right, getting the risk reversal right, getting the lead list building right, the data enrichment right, getting the social proof and putting out the content, getting the product market fit right, getting the deliverability right, getting all these things right, warming up, inbox management, all this stuff, like the copy, getting all the volume, getting all this stuff right is what has allowed us to progress to that 5 meeting a week mark. And very soon we will likely double that as we just send more emails. As we just send more emails, I have no doubts that we'll continue to get more meetings. But this is the case study. This is the internal case study of how we're booking 5+ meetings a week. It's on easy mode. And you don't get here without testing. I couldn't skip this part. Had I magically just arrived at this point, I'd likely be always susceptible to, I mean, you always are, but I'd likely have a lot of dips, inconsistent reply rates. So test it out. Look at what's already working. When you get it right, and when I say when you get it right, I mean, you're averaging 1% plus reply rates. Just send more emails. Send as much as you can. And if they're going to burn out, I mean, you should have had 50% with one inbox provider and 50% with another. But if they're going to burn out, they're going to burn out. Like the inboxes and deliverability goes down over time. It does. And in that case, you'll get some more inboxes. Fine. Not the end of the world. But you want to make sure that that you're getting to the point where you can send as many emails as possible, as quickly as possible. And when you can do that, the amount of meetings you'll schedule per week, there's no limit to it. Just send more emails. You'll realize very quickly how much of this is just about sending more emails. All right, guys. But it's about all the in order to be able to send more emails and be able to do that for more than 3 to 5 days without your deliverability completely tanking, you have to know and understand all the stuff we covered in this video really, really well. If you need help sending cold emails, if you want to book 5 to 10 meetings, sales meetings per week for your B2B business, hit the link in my description and book a free strategy call with me and my agency, Vintascale, and we'll help you out. If you want access to this document, I'll put the link in the description as well. See you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.